So extra care housing is normally a collection of apartments, quite often communal facilities as well. The communal facilities can vary in size, as can the whole scheme in general. The main thing about them is that people can live there independently. It's a midpoint between living in your own home in kind of mainstream housing in the wider community, but it's not a care home, it's not a nursing home. People can buy their apartment, they can have shared ownership, they can rent it, and they don't have to have care. So there might be lots of people living in a housing with care scheme who don't have care at all. Usually people can move in their kind of mid-50s upwards. People can move in as a couple or on their own, and people move in for a variety of different reasons as well.
We have a care provider on site, and that enables our residents to have a care package. So they could have like a 2 calls a day, morning, evening meals. It enables them to have support getting dressed, shower, anything that they need support with really, even shopping.
So the integrated model is the most prevalent. Now, integrated is where people of older people with disabilities, with no disabilities, all live alongside each other, but they tend to be larger schemes. So you might be talking of maybe 360 people living in the same scheme. The smaller schemes tend to be the specialist schemes. Now, the specialists are obviously just for people living with dementia. The third model we looked at is one that's really falling out of favour, and that's a separated model. So that's where people living with dementia live in a separate wing or a separate corridor, but the other part of the scheme is the integrated model. This project was really important because whilst we know a lot about the benefits of extra care housing for older people, we know very little about how best it can support people living with dementia. Extra care housing is becoming an increasingly popular choice for older people, and we do know from our research that 1 in 5 people with dementia are living in extra care housing. So it's really important that we find out how best to support them and how we can give them a really good quality of life in extra care housing.
Extra care, because they think, oh, it's a care home, and so many people think this is a care home, and we say, no, it's not. It's independent living. I think it's important to get that point across, that it's a community for independent living, which would incorporate people who need that extra help.
So having your own home is really important to every one of us. And the real joy, I guess, of extra care housing is that you have got your own front door. It's your private space. You can entertain friends there, you can have your family round.
And I went to stay with my daughter. Well, they got this up to standard with furniture and everything for me, and made it how I would like it.
And I think the most important thing is choosing the right time to move into a complex like this. And that is where I think we definitely chose the right time. Because when you think it's the right time, oh, we're not ready for it yet, so we'll wait for it. That's wrong. Because when you wait for it and you think you are ready for it, quite possibly it's too late.
Having the option to stay in your apartment or come out is good, but yeah, there will be some people who do really struggle to integrate into the community. Moving into a big village with lots of new people, if you have gone through some cognitive changes, we see low confidence, things like that, and then that's led to people feeling lonely. So a lot of the work we've done around loneliness has been about boosting people's confidence.
It's about having your own independence, having your own flat, and that sense of identity within that flat still. So you have all your belongings, you have your photos up.
Actually, I used to do watercolour painting, And I've got a lot of pictures on the wall in every room, which I wouldn't be able to if I went into some places are very small. I like to have my own things around me.
I love to see their smile on their face, and I'll always make an effort to make sure that I say hello to everyone. And I know I implement that in my staff as well, so I'll make sure all the staff, it doesn't matter if they haven't been to them before or if they haven't got them on their rota, you know, make time.
Everybody that you meet here, they are, and staff, and the nursing staff, the caring staff, whichever they call it, they're wonderful and they're so friendly.
The person living with dementia might need more support than can be offered by the scheme itself. So actually still having those connections with your friends and family, for example, family coming in to do the shopping, take mum out for Sunday lunch, do some visits to the park, those connections are still really important.
My daughter-in-law, they go shopping, they ring me up on a Friday, what little order do you want, mum?
So one of the big advantages of extra care housing is that couples can continue to live together in a 1 or 2 bedroom flat with a little bit of extra support from staff if they want it.
Being here enables you to do that. You've got more chance of staying together for longer if you're somewhere like this, where there's support for both of you if you need it, because support for the carer is just as important as support for the person with the dementia, because it's very hard. It's a mental strain.
One of the big benefits of extra care housing is that there can be social opportunities available on site. These might be formal arranged activities that are put on by staff or external providers, but they can also be the kind of informal opportunities to meet your neighbours, get to know other residents. And the restaurants and cafes and schemes can be a real kind of hub for where new friendships start.
The hairdressers is on the site. We have a chiropodist that we can go to on site, the library. I love to come and sort of, I'm a reader. So therefore, you don't have to go out for those.
Yeah, I've seen a change in him. He joins in a lot of things that he never used to. He actually, there was a come dancing the other week, I've never seen him dance before. He dances now. As I say, there's always activities, always something going on.
I think there comes a point when extra care decide that this probably isn't the correct environment.
That's the beauty of this place, where they can still live their life to the full for as long as possible, but there may come a time when they can't.
You know, people whisper, oh, she's got dementia, you know. But as though it was a dirty word that you weren't allowed to sort of speak out loud about it. You know, oh, she's an alcoholic, you know what I mean?
We've done a few different initiatives over the years. One of the big ones is the Dementia Friends programme. It's a good amount of information to give to general public, just starts to set those kind of seeds of empathy, really, that, okay, this isn't a person doing this on purpose. This person is actually going through something that's quite complex, and here's what you can do differently, or just what you can understand differently about that person.
So a real benefit of extra care housing is that there are staff available on site, and that's a regular team of staff that residents can get to know and staff can get to know the residents. And what that means is that actually you get better care, and you get care that's maybe very responsive if you have some sort of change to your health, because they understand what's kind of normal for you.
Personalize, I'll use that word, personalize. So every person that lives here are all different, and we treat them as such.
They watch me if I need to have a shower, because I'm frightened of sleep, and they make sure I take my tablet, and they sort my clothes out for me if I'm going to the day centre, and they're very helpful.
You can live well with dementia if you have the right support. And that's what's really important. So, I know first-hand experience for myself of moving someone here and what it can do to benefit their lives.
Well, she's just there, and if you've got a problem or you want just a bit of reassurance, she's there and she'll just sit down, talk to us, have a cup of tea.
With extra care housing, you have got that element of safety, which both the residents and the families really appreciate. They know that there's generally someone on reception, and there's security, there's fob doors as you go through to the residential parts of the scheme. So families particularly feel, mom, relative, whoever is in a really safe environment. They're in a scheme where someone can kind of keep a watchful eye.
It's just taking pressure. My children know if it's deep snow or whatever happens, I'm safe. And all I've got to do is ring that. Somebody will pop and just check me.
One of the big challenges is the village is open. People can come and go as they please. We might be worried about a resident leaving the building and getting lost, coming into difficulty when they're in kind of with general public outside of the village. And we don't really have any kind of control. We can't stop the person. It's their home. They can come and go as they please. But sometimes a person might not necessarily be safe to do so. So that can start to be a problem.
We do have some that have just been diagnosed with dementia, so are still able to access the community, which we still allow them to, but we want to make sure that they have a copy of their address. If they have a mobile number, that we have their mobile number that they're given. Yeah, so we have strategies and policies that we follow for residents that are able to access the community.
What we have now, when the residents are anywhere in the building, even outside the building, as long as it's within the perimeter the Wi-Fi can catch, when they press the bell, when they press their warding call system, which they wear around their neck or on their wrist, whichever one they prefer, when they press it, we can actually pick their location where they are. Yes, and then we can support them.
We use a system where they're able to communicate to our senior members of staff. Within 30 seconds, the senior staff can be up within the flat, having that conversation, reassuring them, making sure they're well.
So as part of the project, once we'd got all the findings, we'd talked to people with dementia, commissioners, housing providers. We produced 3 booklets. The larger one is for people living with dementia. There's one for commissioners and one for housing providers, because people often misinterpret. They don't really understand what extra care housing is. So those booklets are absolutely key to getting those messages out. And I guess for me, the real message of the project was that extra care housing has to be the right thing for the right person at the right time. There's different models available. One won't suit the other, and it's really important that people do their research and find the right model for them.